All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really different take on a very old subject. We're asking the question, where is the devil today? So, right off the bat, let's just throw out the classic image you have in your head. Forget the red suit, the horns, the pitchfork, all of it. The big question our source material poses is this. What if the devil wasn't some kind of supernatural spirit, but an actual, physical human being walking around among us? Okay, so let's get into it. For this explainer, our goal is to simply unpack the unique teachings of Dr. Malachi Z. We're going to look directly at the arguments he lays out in his writings about the true identity of the devil. And here it is, the key difference right up front. The common view, what most religions teach, is that the devil is a supernatural spirit. But Dr. York's teaching, it argues the complete opposite, that the devil is, and always has been, a physical human being. And that leads us right into the first major idea from this viewpoint. The devil is a tangible, physical entity, not some invisible force. The source material is super direct about this. It claims that traditional religions have kind of given us this misleading picture. The argument here is that the evil one isn't just one being, but a physical devil that became a whole lineage, one that is multiplied over generations. Now, this is where the teaching gets really specific. The writings propose that the original physical devils on Earth were not a pale race, a concept you might have heard in similar doctrines, but an even earlier physical presence, which the text explicitly calls black devils. So you're probably wondering, how did this happen? Let's get into the origin story that's presented in the text, which explains exactly where these first physical devils came from. Okay, to get this, there's a key term we've got to know. Elohim. Now, in these teachings, you got to forget the idea of them being spirits. They're described as physical angelic beings. The story kicks off when 200 of these beings, who were labeled disagreeable or fallen, were thrown out of the heavens and sent down to Earth. This whole origin story basically breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you have the 200 disagreeable Elohim getting kicked out. Second, they land on Earth and set up shop in the land of Nod. Third, they marry women who are descendants of Cain. And fourth, the children from those unions, they are identified as the original physical black devils on our planet. Okay, so that's the ancient history, right? But what does that mean for us today? Well, the writings don't just stop in the past. They actually provide a kind of checklist for identifying what they call these disagreeable people who are supposedly walking among us right now. So according to this view, you can actually spot these individuals by their behavior. They're described as being just constantly negative and uncooperative. They tend to over-exaggerate things, saying they're starving when they're just hangry, or freezing when it's a bit chilly. They'll laugh at your jokes, but they never seem to tell any themselves. It's said they never have a good word to say about anyone, and they're experts at getting you to spill your secrets while they keep their own past locked up tight. So what are you supposed to do if you think you spotted someone like this? Well, the advice given is pretty direct. It's not about confronting them. It's just about knowing who they are and then keeping your distance. All right, let's switch gears and talk about where these teachings say this disagreeable influence is strongest in the modern world. The text points its finger directly at the entertainment industry, calling it a primary tool, a modern playground. And to really hammer this point home, the writings use celebrity culture as a major example. This particular quote frames figures like Michael Jackson as idols who actually distract young people from finding their own path, encouraging them to copy an artificial image instead of building their own lives. And it's not just him, by the way. This is a much broader critique of celebrity influence. The text also calls out Prince, Rick James, and even a sports star like Magic Johnson as more examples of cultural idols who, according to this argument, pull the youth away from their own potential. But here's the really crucial part. How does this influence supposedly work? Well, the teachings argue that modern music, especially with its repetitive, hypnotic beats, acts almost like a form of mind control. It's designed to bypass your conscious, critical thinking and tap directly into your emotions, making you easier to influence. And let's be super clear here. The text presents this as a deliberate strategy, not some accident. The argument is that these individuals are intentionally using their influence in media with a specific goal: to spread misery and make life uncomfortable for everyone else. So, if we tie all that together, the main message from these writings is this. Evil isn't some abstract thing floating around out there. It's something tangible, it's human-driven, and it's woven right into the music, movies, and celebrity culture we consume every single day. Look, the material we've just gone through, Its main claim is crystal clear. The devil is a physical human being. It's a pretty radical idea, right? It totally reframes this ancient concept, and it leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If the devil really is human, whose definition of devilish are we supposed to use?